everybody, and welcome along to another brand new video today where we're less than 1 week away from Series 12 of Doctor Who beginning with Spyfall Part 1. I'm certainly very excited, and I hope you guys are too. And today I'm going to give you guys 5 reasons. I've tried to narrow it down because there's obviously lots of things to be excited about for Series 12, but I've tried to narrow it down to 5 reasons why I'm excited about Series 12. And so should you be. So yes, I was thinking about this for a little while because I remember doing a video, I think it was back in February, March time, where I think I did a 5 things I want to see in Series 12. And actually a lot of them have been ticked off in this, or at least are seemingly going to be ticked off in this series, and it's something that yeah, I made those predictions a long time ago. I wasn't really expecting something to come off, but actually it looks like we might be getting the reality of that. So part of that's where I've kind of got this idea from, and some of these ideas and some of the choices from, but also from reading the sort of press articles as to what things we know are going to be happening or not happening in Series 12. And so we've got 5 reasons that I can be excited, or anybody that we can all be excited about Series 12. And of course, here is number 1. So yes, number 1 is the return of the 2-parter episodes for Doctor Who. We haven't seen a 2-parter since the end of Series 10 with Well Enough in Time and the Doctor Falls, but now they're back for Series 12, even in the opening episode, of course, we've got Spyfall Part 1 and Part 2, intriguingly going for the Part 1, Part 2 title that we haven't seen since the end of time, and apart from that, only the classic series has ever done that in terms of calling both parts of the story the same name. But I think a 2-parter just gives so much more opportunity to give kind of more scale and more scope to a story, give more time for it to breathe. There was definitely an element, I think, in some of the stories last year of a very sort of rushed endings where not much really happened in the first 30-35 minutes, and then suddenly it all went bang, 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 and it's all over in 5-10 minutes. And it was sort of a little bit disappointing, I think, from that point of view. Whereas the use of a 2-parter just gives you so much more room for the story to breathe, to explore different locations and settings, and certainly I think that's something that Spyfall's going to be doing from what we've seen so far, which is really exciting to see. And yeah, just to give more opportunity for the characters as well to get involved in different things and develop them more and everything like that. It just has so much more potential, I think, in using 2-parters in Doctor Who than just having a series of single-parters that we had like in Series 11. I don't know how many 2-parters we're going to get in Series 12. They've said multiple, but obviously multiple can be 2 or anything above 2 or more. And we know we're getting 1 in the opening 2 episodes. My guess would be the last 2 episodes will also be a 2-parter, and maybe there'll be a couple of linked stories during the middle of the series, possibly. But I still think even if we just get the first 2 and the last 2 as 2-parters, that's enough really for me to just kind of have that really big opening and big conclusion, because that's what you always want from a series, is it to start exciting and end exciting, and sometimes recently that hasn't happened, I think. And so I'm really pleased they're going to be changing that. And obviously a 2-parter also gives more opportunity for a cracking cliffhanger. Chris has said that the cliffhanger for the end of Spyfall Part 1 is certainly a pretty big one, that we're not going to know how they're going to get out of it for Part 2. So that's really exciting to see. And yeah, as I say, just gives more opportunity for the use of that as well. So I think, yeah, this is one of my first reasons to be really excited for Series 12. Now the next thing, which is certainly something, number 2, certainly something that I talked about in my 5 things I want to see in Series 12, and that is returning monsters and villains. Of course, we didn't get a single one in Series 11, well, until Resolution, where we saw 1 Dalek return, but that wasn't even a Dalek. We've seen before because it was had to create its own casing in it and all that idea, which was really good, but wasn't in the same way a returning monster as much as it was. It also wasn't, it was a bit of a sort of returning monster. Whereas in this series, we've got confirmed Judoon and Cybermen, which are a nice couple of choices, I think. I think the Judoon's a bit of an unexpected one, maybe. And isn't an obvious choice to come back, because at least in the past they haven't necessarily been a villain as such. They've been the police, the space police essentially. So they're not really there to kind of kill people or take over planets or whatever alien conquest they've got. And maybe that will be the same case, and we'll find out actually in this episode that they're not the massive villains of the piece. I mean, the promo picture we saw of Jodie and the Judoon certainly looked like they were the villains, but you never quite know until we see the story. And so, yeah, it's just nice to see something back from the RTD era from, 12 years ago they aired, and they had their proper episode in Smith and Jones, nearly 13 years now, of course. And so it's just exciting to see them back in the show and telling a new story with this old character, just having more of a connection to the past is really pleasing, and I think is really important for the programme, because it's not a problem for the show to call back to the past. It's only a problem if they do it too much and in too sort of in-depth a way. So just bringing a character or an alien back from the past is fine, as long as you can tell a good new story with it, and I'm confident they will do that. Obviously, along with this, the probably more exciting one that we didn't really ever have officially confirmed, but then was shown in the trailers, and Chris said it, was the Cybermen, that they're back for the back end, somewhere towards the end of Series 12. We're not quite sure whether they're going to be part of the finale at all, or whether they've just got an individual episode. Something along the lines of a Mary Shelley Frankenstein type episode is what they're supposedly about. And apparently they're going to be new type of Cybermen that are more determined and dangerous than ever, or something something along those lines that Chris said. Probably just usual PR hyperbole that you get from articles hyping up the show, but you never know, it might be more than that. It's exciting to see the Cybermen back. I feel like they have had, I know they were in the Series 10 and Season 10 Series 10 finale, but that was 2.5 years ago now, so I do think it's acceptable to have them back as a villain in the show. And Chris says he had a specific story he wanted to tell with the Cybermen and then meeting Jodie, which is always, I think, good news. Personally for me, I think it's good news when a writer says they just had an idea that fitted, that they wanted to use these aliens because they had this idea. I think that's so much better than just, oh, we need to get another monster in, okay, we'll bring back the Cybermen, I'll write something about it and it'll be fine. It sounds like there's a real plan there, which is really exciting, and I think therefore should, fingers crossed, work really, really well. But yeah, as I say, just having this connection back to the past should make the show feel more like what we're used to an extent, because I think Series 11 sometimes felt a little bit too like its own show, and also not that exciting a show because the monsters just weren't that good in the last series. But you've got, well, certainly the Cybermen are a good villain, and the Jadoon, I think, have a lot of potential to be a good alien, whether they're good or bad. I think they'll be quite interesting and fun to see in a story. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to there, and I'm really, really pleased about that. And you never know, you might get another one if we're lucky, if they just haven't confirmed it. But well, even if we just get these two, that's definitely something to be excited about. Now my third thing to be excited about is a bit of a more general topic and a general feel to the show, which is just a more action-orientated series than what we saw in Series 11. Like, I don't want to say that Series 11 was boring as a series, but it did not feel particularly action-packed, full of loads of really exciting and intense stories where there's really high stakes, there's lots going on, and it's really action-packed and exciting. I didn't feel like I had that particularly in Series 11, whereas I know we're basing it basically off the trailers, but everything that we've got so far and suggested so far is that this series is going to be bigger and better and more exciting and more action-packed than what we saw from Series 11. The trailers certainly show that with the amount of kind of explosions, the sort of scale of vistas that we're seeing in that particular trailer, and a lot of the talk we've got, for example, about the Spyfall 2-parter of it being this whole sort of spy conspiracy thriller type story. It just looks very action-orientated as a whole concept. And so that very much suggests to me that we're going to see more and more of that in Series 12. A Cyberman story is usually going to be an action-packed story as well, so there's something else there that looks really good, and just some really good, I think as part of this, sort of with the more action, is just better monsters for Series 12. This is not point 4, this is just a continuation of point 3 of the more action-orientated focus on the series, but just having better monsters that can create more action and excitement by having them being actually decent and interesting and doing stuff, rather than just waffling on and then getting defeated by the Doctor like we sometimes saw in Series 11. So that really gives me a lot of optimism and excitement. I know it's basing a lot on the trailer, but I don't have any reason to believe that we won't see more action given everything we know so far about this series. So yeah, that's something to certainly be excited about. Now my fourth point is something that is as much, I think, a hope as an expectation, is that we will have better main characters in Series 12. Now, I'm not trying to slate all 4 of the main characters and say they were all awful in Series 11. I don't think that. I just don't think they all had enough character in Series 11 to really make them an interesting character that you want to engage with and find out more about, and have got layers to their character and different emotional range and all this kind of thing. Like, Jodie just smiles and is happy most of the time and saves planets and defeats aliens. Like, there wasn't any real depth or layer to her character, I thought, particularly in Series 11. Which I really, really hope, and certainly the implication from the trailers, there's something coming for me, I'm going to need you guys more than ever, blah, blah, blah. There's lots of implications and hints that there's something more that she's sort of got to deal with this series, which will give her more of those layers and that emotional range to have to sort of work with in this series. But it's something I definitely think needs to be improved. I think Graham's probably the only one that really got that properly in Series 11 already, so doesn't really need to go too far. Obviously, we all know about Yaz and how she needs some character. I'm hopeful, given Chris is based pretty much as soon as Series 11 aired, he acknowledged in, I think it was in the resolution screening or something, wasn't it, that he said that yes, he needs to give Yaz a bit more character because she probably didn't in Series 11. So hopefully he has taken that on board and actually done something with it. It certainly would seem likely if he's acknowledging that fact. And that Ryan will get a little bit better serviced. Obviously we had the whole story or character arc with Ryan and Graham, and Ryan's dad as well being involved in that, which was some good stuff in there. But I don't feel like overall he had enough to do, or enough interesting sort of traits as a character, so I hope that that's just continues to be developed and worked on. But as I say, based on what we know so far, that certainly looks promising that we're going to see a bit more of that in this series, and so that's another thing to be excited about. And then the fifth and final thing for this video to be excited about for Series 12 is the prospect of a story arc for the first time since Series 10. We had basically nothing in Series 11. Tim Shaw turned up in Episode 1 and Episode 10, but it wasn't an arc, it was just him turning up in Episode 1 and Episode 10. And then I mean, the focus clearly was on character arcs in Series 11 rather than story arcs, and I mean, the character arcs weren't brilliant, but they were there. But there was no connecting factor between each of the episodes, whereas Chris has made it clear in interviews that there is more of that in this series. The stories aren't going to be more interconnected, building to something. As I said in the previous point, the whole thing about Jodie, for the Doctor, there's something coming for her, something that she's going to need her companions to help her out with, and all this. This all suggests that there's some sort of bigger mystery going on behind the scenes that we're going to gradually find out more about throughout this series, and hopefully building to a big conclusion, which is something I love to see in a show like Doctor Who, is a proper epic season finale after a real sort of lots of building blocks going through the series in terms of what might be going on, what is this mystery that we've got to try and solve before the end of the series. I really hope that we get that in Series 12 and that it is resolved. Could it be the Timeless Child? I don't know. Obviously, that's kind of the only thing we've really got to work with at the moment, is why I think people are saying that more than anything else. But you never know, it might be something to do with that, and that, I think, does have some interesting things to explore. What quite could be the Timeless Child? Is she meant to be the Timeless Child, or is something else the Timeless Child? I hope they don't go down the route, as has been mentioned, of the Doctor being female before the first Doctor, because that just doesn't make any sense. But you never know, they might do that and we'll all be shocked and moaning at them. But who knows? I think overall it's something to be excited about, because the problem with Series 11 was it just felt so disconnected as a programme, I think. Between each episode was just so individual that there was no... You could watch them in any order and it didn't make any difference, which I thought was really, really frustrating and disappointing, and then meant the finale, it didn't build to anything with the finale. The finale was just another episode that happened and then was over, which was rather a shame. So I really think that this adding more of an arc in just gives so much more opportunity to build to that conclusion, that great big finale, which is something that I'm sure we'd all love to see. So yes, as I say, there's more things I could talk about in terms of what I'm excited for Series 12, but that just narrows it down to 5 quick things that I think are very much things to be excited about, things to look forward to, things that are going to make Series 12 a much better series than Series 11. And we've only got less than a week to wait now until episode 1 airs, and I'm so excited for it. I hope you guys are too. But do let me know down in the comments below what things you're excited about for Series 12. Is it the 5 I've listed? Are there any more things you're excited for Series 12 as well? I'd love to know what they are down in the comments below. But that's just about it from this video. Thank you guys again for joining me on my hashtag 15 days of Doctor Who. Remember, there'll be a brand new video again tomorrow once again, so do tune in for that, 7 PM tomorrow night. There'll be another brand new video continuing every day until the 5th of December. I'm loving your guys' support so far for these videos, and I'm so excited to just keep producing all these great videos for you guys to enjoy. But apart from that, remember to hit that like button, that subscribe button if you're new here, and I'll see you again tomorrow for another video. Goodbye!